To start off, you will need the following runes: Trap Launcher, Chimera Shot, Lone Wolf, and Explosive Shot. You will then need a wolf with Howl and Dash rank 2 for the added movement speed. I suggest you go deep survival, but any spec will work. Now, we can start. You can choose to kill this mob and have your boosties stand on the ledge of the window. If not, just simply run past the mob while using Concussive Shot. While running, you can Frost trap one and wing clip the other one. If there is a sorcerer, you can jump on the ledge of the window here and kill it. The melee mobs will simply evade. If none of these mobs are sorcerers, great, you can just run past them. Basically here, you just want to check where are the sorcerers and mark them so you know where they are. This is the moment where you are evaluating which ones you will ignore and the ones you will kill. So here's a quick image showing which sorcerers you must kill depending on where they are. So red means you can't avoid them. Yellow you can, but in some cases it might be worth it to kill them. And green, you should avoid them as they will be annoying to kill and they are very easy to dodge. You can see the pathing we will more or less do with the pet later on. Basically, any sorcerers on the grass or that is a patrol must be dealt with. The way you kill the sorcerers depends mainly on your gear and runes you have. Since I have good gear, I like to go melee and fist them to death, and I switch very easily between my trap launcher and dual wield rune on boots by simply having two pairs of boots. But simply staying ranged and killing them with Chimera Shot is fine as well. And as you can see here, you also want to be ready to use your freezing trap for any incoming mobs, and a immolation trap on the sorcerer you're killing will make the kills slightly faster. For the sorcerers you've ignored, which will be the ones standing on the sides of the gardens, you'll obviously skip them while doing the pull. Yes, it means you will skip a few mobs that are also not sorcerers. But if it means you'll be doing the run in 12 minutes instead of 20 minutes, and if that is the case, it is then absolutely worth it. Now let's open the gate. Pretty simple. You stand near the fountain, call your wolf, Eye of the Beast, and run near the mobs. Something important to note is that pet aggro is different from player's aggro. It's a sort of pulse aggro, meaning every 5 seconds the mobs will scan for a nearby pet. If your pet is there, he'll pull, which is why you probably noticed that you sometimes have a hard time pulling mobs with your pet. There's a Weakaura that will indicate this. As you can see here, I'll put the link down below. Now here's a very subtle but important thing you have to do. Once I've jumped down with my pet, I spam my macro pet stay so he won't come back to me with the mobs. I also use Howl to make sure he keeps threat up. If there is a mob you forgot to pull, you can simply use freezing trap. Now, make sure to press your hips nice and close to the door to ensure your pet despawns from being far enough from you. Once the door opens, you should be able to call him back and send him on Mograine. Use Howl so all the mobs will now focus him again, and you will have time to run back to the fountain. Now we start the pulling, which can be frustrating if you don't execute the pull correctly by getting dazed or pulling sorcerers that you were meant to skip. If that happens, just run to the entrance with your pet and cancel Eye of the Beast so your pet despawns. Use Feign Death and start over. Before you start the pull, check that you have the good runes on Trap Launcher and Explosive Shot. I can't even begin to count the amount of times I did the full pull and realized only once in the kill phase that I forgot Explosive Shot. So I usually stand there till the mobs pull, then use dash and run through the mobs, of course, if you have sorcerers there. Just dodge them. Some of the mobs you will want to attack so you don't have to wait for the pulse pull, and others will naturally pull with the proximity aggro from the mobs that are chasing you. If you get dazed early here, you can cancel Eye of the Beast. It's fine. Now run to the evade spot here, call your pet back. Use Howl so your pet jumps back onto the threat table. You can use one men pet, but not more. Otherwise mobs will tend to partially reset. Use dash to run back fast and pull the remaining mobs on this side of the room. As you can see here, I didn't kill the sorcerers on the right, so I just don't run into them. Same here. Just hug the wall and try to jump turn as much as possible when coming near any mobs so you don't get dazed. I even misplayed here and failed to show that even with mistakes, it's fine. Just run and wait for dash to come back up. Also try and use Howl as often as you can. It helps avoid unwanted partial resets from some mobs. And I got dazed. Unlucky. It happens, which is why I'll show you how you can sometimes salvage the run. Here I see the mobs running towards me even though I'm on the evade spot. Meaning I wasn't really on it, so I simply jump back on it. And now resurrect my pet as fast as I can, so mobs don't reset. And the second my pet is back up, I use Howl to put him back on the threat table. Pretty easy from here, since I have dash up and I have a big lead on the mobs. As you can see, I keep using Howl on cooldown just to be safe. And now I can just dash and run straight to Mograine. You still want to jump and turn because being dazed is quite frequent. Once you come up to Mograine, it'll pull the entire room and you still want to continue using Howl. I like to go to the side of the room and stall as much as I can because it'll stack up the mobs a bit more and give me time to pull the remaining mobs after. Now you can pull the few mobs you haven't managed to pull with the pet. You can use a freezing trap on the way to give you a more comfortable setting. If there was a sorcerer in the corner over there, I would simply not pull it. Now you can set up your freezing trap and explosive trap. Now, the important part, juggling the mobs. You want to go right in front of the bush, not any further, because that can cause pathing issues for the mobs, which will just be annoying for you. As all the mobs are coming, you really want to concentrate on just jumping up and down. When the mobs keep doing this back and forth movement at the end of the corner, they kind of get clumped up together, and that's what you want. Now, Mograine won't be slowed because he's a boss, but that's no issue here, since you'll just jump up and down the whole kill phase while focusing him. And don't forget to keep throwing your traps. Once Mograine killed, you can tab through the mobs and try focusing the abbots and chaplains that heal and can get quite annoying, especially if you lack some gear. That way you can use rapid fire and multi-shot. If you're engineer, you can also throw dynamites. You can just switch to Aspect of the Viper whenever you need mana. Also, quick tip. When you have Viper and your explosive trap triggers, you'll get mana for every mob hit by the trap. In this case, it's basically 0 to 100% mana. If you want to see a full run with no cuts, just check my sub 9 minutes Cathedral pull. I'll put the link down below. If you did manage to keep the mobs stacked and in the corner, when they flee, you shouldn't have much, if any, mobs fleeing towards you. If that's the case, you can just focus them and kill them so they don't bother you later on. If you messed up this part and mobs are kind of going all over the place, don't worry, here's a clip on how to manage it. So you can do several things. First of all, use healing potions. You'll have plenty if you are farming this boost. Also, if you are deep survival spec, you can use deterrence in sticky situations added with Aspect of the Monkey. You're basically unkillable if and only if you face the mobs, so jump turn. Here the mobs are fleeing, so there is still a window where they won't focus and hit me, which is why I can just run through and do a small loop-de-loop. Use a little freezing trap to stall as long as I can. And I just jump back in, making sure no mobs are in the way, and go back to the same spot. And remember to reapply freezing trap. As long as you jump up and down as often as you can, you should be safe. Now back to the initial run. Kill time, if done well, using Explode Trap and Explode Shot on cooldown, should take from 2 minutes up to 3 minutes. Something I like to do is when all the mobs are around 15% health right before they flee, I time my cooldowns, so I use Explosive Trap and Explosive Shot at the same time, with also a Dynamite if you're engineer. And that's it. You've got yourself a 10 to 15 minutes run with 80 to 90 mobs killed. You can start making good gold. I hope you found this guide useful and not too boring. If it did help you and you are interested in other dungeon boosts or any hunter tips and tricks, please leave a like on this video, comment, and subscribe. It's very much appreciated. Goodbye.